For too long, meaningful research opportunities have been restricted to those with the right connections, at the right institutions, at the right geographic location. But that ends right now. My name is Dr. Anderson Cardozo, and I'm a cardiologist in Boston in the United States, and I'm about to show you a way for you to gain research autonomy in developing your own research projects from wherever you are in the world, regardless of who you know or your connection. If you don't know me yet, as I said, I'm a cardiologist in Boston. I'm originally from Brazil. I came to the United States for internal medicine residency at the University of Miami. Honestly, I had a really rough start in the medical research world. It was tough at the beginning, working long hours, no medical research experience. But then I learned how to do systematic reviews and meta-analysis, and this transformed my career. I matched into cardiology at Johns Hopkins, then went to Harvard Medical School for a cardiac imaging fellowship where I stayed on as faculty, as an attendee. A strong track record in publications was essential, was a critical component of building this academic career in the United States. Later on in my career, through the Meta-Analysis Academy, I've helped hundreds of students and doctors from around the world to publish impactful research to also advance and transform their careers. Our students collectively have over 1,000 publications, thousands of abstracts presented in international conferences in pretty much all specialties. Strong publications in journals like JAMA Cardiology, Lancet Global Health, Ophthalmology, Neurosurgery, Anesthesia and Analgesia, American Journal of Obstetrics and Gynecology, European Radiology, and so many more. Our students have also been cited in international guidelines like the European Society of Medical Oncology, American Diabetes Association, the European Society of Cardiology, World Endoscopy Association, UpToDate, and so many others. This is the moment you cross an irreversible line from asking others for research opportunities to creating your own research ideas and projects. Because your career is just too valuable to depend on the interest, availability, or skills of others. Hello everyone, welcome. Good day to everyone. Welcome to the publication roadmap. Anderson Cardozo here, very excited to join you guys, to teach you guys the roadmap to impactful publications with autonomy. We always like to kick off this webinar by getting to know you guys. Leave us in the chat where you're from, maybe what level of training you're in as well. Like if you're a resident, if you're a medical student, if you're pre-med, if you're a specialist already. We're really excited to get to know you and work with you guys today and tomorrow for the publication roadmap. Today we have day 0. Today we have the kickoff. Today we're going to learn about wonderful ways in which you guys can develop great research ideas. So again, I'm thrilled to have you on board here. Get ready, invite your friends, hit that share button, invite others to join in with you in this really transformative journey in your career. I'm going to get started right away because we have some housekeeping issues to go over here in the beginning. And then also we have a lot to discuss here today, okay? What will you learn today? You will learn 5 very practical methods for you to develop your own research ideas, because that's really the first step. You know, if you're stuck in square 0 of research, the first step is for you to learn how to develop great research ideas. And that's exactly what we're going to talk about here today. So again, I'm super excited to join you guys. Did you put in the chat here where you guys are from? People from all over. Great to see you guys here. All right, so let's get started. Let's join in right away, okay? So here we go. We're here in day 0 of publication roadmap. You guys are going to find out in just a second why we call it day 0 and not day 1. Okay, so I want to ask you guys this question before we get started. Tell me, what are the greatest barriers that you guys face in face of doing doing impactful research? Like, what are the limitations? And I listed some here. I want to know from you guys, like, which one of these bothers you the most? It may be even multifactorial. It may be more than one. But tell me if it's lack of time, skills, funding, network, like a research group, lack of mentors, lack of institutional support, lack of statistical knowledge. So let me know here in the chat which one of these is the most bothersome to you guys. And I assure you that if you follow us through both days of the publication roadmap, you will learn how to develop your own ideas, and you will learn the steps that you need to take to overcome all of these barriers all at once. Yes, that's exactly right. And I'll show you many cases of this. I'll show you dozens and dozens of cases of our students from all over the world who've done extraordinarily well and overcame these barriers. So, and it doesn't matter if you're, from India, from Pakistan, from Colombia, from Mexico. It doesn't matter where you are in the world. We've had one of our students recently from Kazakhstan who published a paper, a great paper. So it doesn't matter your level of training, it doesn't matter what country you're from. If you follow what I'm about to teach you today and tomorrow, you guys will learn how to overcome these barriers. But first we have to start with the idea. So we can't do a research project, we can't do a publication without having the research idea for that paper. So again, that's exactly what we're going to talk about here today. Okay, so let's get started right away. All right, so if you have no idea where to start, if you're stuck in square zero, that's why we called it day zero, because for a lot of you, some of you do have research experience, some of you have published a few papers before, but maybe lack impact, lack quality in your research. You're stuck doing useless case reports. But for most of you, you're in square zero. For most of you, you've never done a paper, you have no idea how to start. You want to kick off your research and academic journey, but you don't know how to. So again, that's why you're here. This is day zero. This is going from square zero to square one to developing research ideas. Let me start off with a quick introduction on my own story. I'm an international medical graduate. My name is Randerson Cardoso, and I'm originally from Brazil. I did medical school there, and then I came to the United States for residency. It was 2013 when I matched. And I did internal medicine at the University of Miami. I was also a chief resident there. So I learned a lot about selecting residents as well, reviewed hundreds and hundreds of applications, interviewed many people. So I was a chief there. At the time I was a resident, I wanted to learn how to do publications to get a cardiology match. And I did. I published multiple papers. I matched at the Johns Hopkins Hospital for cardiology fellowship. So that's where I did cardiology fellowship from 2017 to 2020. And then I came to Harvard where, actually before I came to Harvard, when I was at Hopkins, I created an ECG training program. We call it the ECG Academy. And I was a cardiology fellow. I was training in cardiology. So I created this program, which was enormously successful. We've had more than 10,000 students in our EKG program over the last couple of years, over the last 3 to 4 years. And then I started off training folks online in this format, first with EKG, a really phenomenal EKG program. And I had the idea then of also teaching folks how to do publications, because this was something I had done extraordinarily well in my own career. I had published at that time 60 papers. Now I probably have about 100. And those publications were really well cited, really impactful research in great journals. So because the EKG program took off and it became really extraordinary, I then decided to also teach folks how to do research. And then we chose meta-analysis as the right tool because it's something that's accessible. You guys are going to learn this. I chose meta-analysis as a method because you can publish from anywhere in the world and you don't depend on your institution. So then I created the ECG Academy for this. I came to the Meta-Analysis Academy. You guys are going to learn about that at a later time. And then I came to Harvard just to wrap up my individual journey. I came to Harvard Medical School as a fellow initially, and then I stayed on as faculty. So today I'm assistant professor at Harvard Medical School. I'm a clinical cardiologist. I train residents, fellows, and I also work as a cardiologist. Of course, it's very important for me to let you know that this program, the Meta-Analysis Academy, the publication roadmap, they're not affiliated with Harvard, with Johns Hopkins, with the places that I've mentioned. Okay, so that's my journey from Brazil to Miami to Johns Hopkins to Harvard Medical School as an assistant professor today. And of course, I'm very proud of that individual journey. But what I'm most proud of is helping our students to achieve similar success. So this is a picture with some of our students at the American College of Cardiology. We have students here from India, from Mozambique in Africa, from Mexico, from Colombia, from all over the world. And these students from our training program and research from Egypt, these students have published more than 1,000 great papers, hundreds, thousands of abstract presentations like this one at the American College of Cardiology. So I'm really proud of this accomplishment of our group, of our team, and I'm excited to share with you guys how this works, how you can learn how to do research, Franz, for example. Franz is from Ecuador, and now he published a lot of meta-analysis. Now he is a resident in the United States at University of Texas. Okay, so what did all of these folks have in common? We all had a start. We all had a kickoff. We all had a beginning, and that's today for you. So today is your day zero. Today is where you're going to get started in your own journey of doing impactful research, of doing impactful publications. And we're going to first start by developing ideas. So right now I need you to focus. Right now I need you to turn off your phones, get off social media, and for the next an hour and 20 or so, 1 hour and 20 minutes approximately, you will do nothing else but pay close attention. If you have this goal in your career of going abroad, of publishing great papers, of getting into a competitive residency or fellowship program, and you need to learn how to publish for that, you have to focus. What you're going to learn here today is going to be transformative in your career. Okay? So what we're going to learn here today is 5 methods to develop impactful research ideas with autonomy. These methods, just to be clear, they're incredibly practical. You will leave the classroom today, you will leave this class, and you will be able to apply this right away, like instantaneously. Okay, you're going to actually do the exercise today that we have prepared for you. And in that exercise, you already apply this right away, instantaneously. You're going to apply in the exercise how to develop your great ideas in your field of interest. You could like pediatrics, psychiatry, neurology, whatever it is, you're going to be able to apply this to your research. So we're going to get started on these methods. I just have some housekeeping issues here first. Okay, just some final announcements here before we start so that you get the most out of this program and you understand how the publication roadmap works. The first thing you need to understand is that you need full commitment to this. This is not something that you kind of watch 20 minutes and then you go to Instagram, or you watch the lecture but you don't do the exercise. You're not going to go anywhere. If you do that, you have to have commitment. The journey works, but only if you walk the journey. The roadmap works, but only if you follow the roadmap, okay? If you take detours, if you don't have that level of commitment, it won't work. So there's an exercise you have to complete. You have to come back for day 2 tomorrow. This is really critical. And then I also like to ask you guys to think about purpose, about why you're here, because that's a great level of motivation for all of us. Like when I learned this, I really wanted to become a cardiologist. And that really motivated me to learn this publication roadmap. For you, maybe something else. You may want to be a neurosurgeon. You may want to, to become a professor, do a PhD, but this sense of purpose is really important. Think about why you're here, what brought you here. If you're taking notes virtually or by paper, handwritten notes, write it down. What is it that you're looking for? 1 or 2 or 3 really clear, crystal clear goals, because this will help you stay motivated and get the work done. Think about your future career. Think about your future self. And if you have this sense of purpose and commitment, you will accomplish great things. Okay, like these students. These are just a few of our hundreds of students who've done extraordinarily well in their career. These ones matched into great specialties in the United States. Natalia, for example, is from Colombia. I did a live stream with her. Some of you guys watched it. She matched, well, actually, Amanda did that live stream. She matched at the University of Miami in neurology. That's fantastic. It's transformative in her career. We've had Silomar who've matched into Harvard, for Heme-Onc. So these are some great examples of our students who've done really, really well. So how does this work? Today is day 1. You're going to watch this lecture for about an hour, like I said, an hour and 20 minutes, and then you're going to do this exercise. The exercise, you see how that we put a fat pillar there, a strong pillar there, because that's a really critical pillar of the publication roadmap. You have to do the exercise. You can't just watch this lecture. The exercise will be brief. It won't take you very long, but you have to complete it before day 2. Also, we have a special prize for those people who watch this live, for you guys who are watching it live. I'll explain it at the end, but you have to stick until the end, and then we're going to have a really great opportunity for people who register their attendance. I'm going to explain this more at the end. And then also, you're going to have these extras. Let me explain what these extras are, and then we'll get started with the class. Okay, so listen, if you guys go to our page, just give me 1 second here. This is our transmission page, okay? Our team will share this link with you here below the description of the video. It's going to be in our WhatsApp group, and it's also going to be in the chat here on YouTube, okay? So in this transmission page, guys, you will find the recordings of this lecture, class 1 and class 2, but you will also find these extras here. So this is where you will download your exercise. So after you watch the lecture, you will come here and download the exercise. You will also submit your exercise. That's right, you will submit your exercise. We want to see your answers. And there's also a special opportunity for people who complete that task. And also there's some extras here. There's a statistics ebook, and there's a template here, which is going to be super helpful to you guys in your career. So this transmission page, we'll put the link in the chat, and we'll also put it in the WhatsApp groups. This is one critical recommendation that I have for you. Don't accept individual messages, like on your WhatsApp, from anyone claiming to be from our team without verifying their number here. You have to put their number here, and you have to verify if this is a real number from someone from our team. This is really important. Our communication with you guys is through the WhatsApp community that we've created for you. Okay, we rarely reach out individually, and when we do, you can double check and check if the number here is someone from our team. Be very careful with scams, with people who claim to be from the Meta-Analysis Academy because they want to sell you something. Be very careful with that, okay? So everything is in the transmission page. We're starting right now. Right now is 7:20 a.m. New York, and you can see the times here. So let's go ahead and get started. Back here to our slides, and make sure to check that transmission page later on. Let me just share my slides again, and then we're going to get started with day 1. All right, so this is the snapshot of the exercise you guys are going to do. We're going to register attendance at the end, and that's it. Let's get started. Okay, at the end of the program, at the end of the publication roadmap, you will have the opportunity to join our Meta-Analysis Academy. You will have the opportunity to join our program in training you at the highest level on how to do meta-analysis. But I'm not going to focus on that right now because I don't want any distractions. I want you guys fully committed to day 1 of the publication roadmap. So that's it in terms of announcements. Let me know in the chat if you guys are ready. You guys are ready to go? Yes, yes? All set? All good? All right? Let me know in the chat if you guys are ready to roll. Super. Great. All right, that's it. So let's get started here, my friends. So class 1 is about 5 methods for you to have high impact research ideas with autonomy. Autonomy is such a key word. Autonomy means that you can't depend on your medical school, your professors, your friends, or anyone else to develop research ideas for you. Autonomy means that even though you're a medical student, even though you're a pre-med, or even though you're earlier on in your career, that you will learn how to develop research ideas in your areas of interest. And we'll train you on that with 5 specific methods. There are more, In the Meta-Analysis Academy, we teach even more methods on how to do that. But for the publication roadmap, I brought you guys 5 great methods for you to develop research ideas. And the secret ingredient behind all of these methods, guys, is to look for controversy. We do research, medical research, in topics that are controversial. We do medical research in topics in which there are no clear answers on what should be done. So our purpose, our mission, when we start searching for research ideas, is to look out for those controversial topics. That's what we're trying to do. Okay, so I'm going to share with you 5 methods to identify those controversies, and they'll go from very obvious to very advanced. Okay, the first method is really obvious, but it's also very powerful. So I thought I would highlight this with you guys. The first method is the bedside. Now, the bedside is a source of clinical questions all the time. If you've already started your rotations, if you're an intern, a resident, a medical student, and you rotate in the hospital, a lot of times you will have questions about how to diagnose, how to manage, how to treat a patient. And a lot of those are gaps in our own knowledge. If you go and read a book or read up to date or read a guideline, you will then find out that there is an answer to that question. You just didn't know it yet. But a lot of times when we go look for those answers for our clinical questions, we find out, hey, you know what? This isn't very clear in the literature. There is controversy around this. So then you can take that controversy and make it into a great research idea. So let me show you an example of using the bedside to generate your own research ideas. Look at this publication here. This is in one of the top journals in the world in obstetrics and gynecology. It's the American Journal of Obstetrics and Gynecology, AJOG. So in this publication, Enrique, who was a medical student at the time, he was a 5th-year medical student. He was still in his early days of training. He did this. He wasn't even a doctor yet at the time he had this idea, and then he graduated later on. But the way he had this idea was that in his medical school, he noticed he's from it's not a small town, but he's from one of the mid-sized cities in southeast Brazil. And in his city, in his hospital, he realized that when women gave birth and they wanted to have long-acting contraceptions, they said, I don't want to have another baby for a long, long time. He noticed that the doctors in his hospital were placing long-acting contraception right away. Woman gave birth, and then she said, I don't want a baby for now, for a long time. So they would insert right away the long-acting contraception. But he also realized that this was not standard practice. In other cities, like São Paulo and other places, they waited longer. They waited several weeks. So he went into the literature and he realized that there was a lot of controversy around this topic. So because he was interested in OBGYN, obstetrics and gynecology, and because he realized there was an opportunity there was controversy. So this is a very neat example of just using a bedside question to develop your great research idea. And you may say, but Randerson, that's very nice. That's really cool. But I'm not in the hospital yet. I'm a pre-med student. I'm a 1st or 2nd year med student. I don't have that bedside clinical experience yet. What should I do? And well, thankfully for you, there are several other methods for developing research ideas. And we're going to go over 4 more methods which you can apply directly yourself. The second method is to look at recent publications. This is a really powerful tool that I'm about to show you. In fact, this is one of the highlights of today's session. If you learn nothing else, but you learn how to use this method to develop research ideas, you will do extraordinarily well in having great research projects. Okay, so listen up. Again, make sure to focus entirely on the class, because what I'm about to tell you can and may transform your career. Okay, so listen. Look at Caroline's example. Caroline, at the time of this publication, she was a 1st-year med student. 1st year, no bedside experience, not a doctor, not an intern. She was a first-year medical student, and she published as first author in the European Journal of Obstetrics and Gynecology. And she published on the use of this specific substance, polyphenol, for women with polycystic ovarian syndrome. So this is really, really incredible that a first-year medical student could do a publication at this level as first author. And not only did she do that, but having a strong CV helped her to do a rotation at Harvard Medical School later as a third-year medical student. So this is a great example on how these publications can build you a strong CV. And she spent 1 month here at Harvard in the winter doing a rotation here. It really opened a great opportunity in her career. But the key question here is, how in the world did Caroline, as a first-year medical student, develop a research idea at this level? Well, that's what I'm about to show you right now, okay? She looked for controversy by applying this method that I'm about to teach you, recent publications. How does this work? It works like this. You see a recent publication in your area of interest, like in this example. This is a publication in neurology. This is a really strong journal. It's called the Green Journal. It's called Neurology. This is a publication by this group of authors on using a specific diet for epilepsy treatment. It's a publication in a great journal in neurology. And then this group, which is Antonio Mutarelli's group, Antonio is a medical student, a fourth-year medical student. They saw this publication and they did a meta-analysis on this very same topic. And they published it in a really great journal called Seizure. So essentially what they did was they read the literature, they saw a recent publication, they realized there was a lot of controversy on that topic, and they published a meta-analysis on this. So be very, you have to understand that this is not a copying, it's not plagiarism. What they're doing is they're applying a different method of research to answer this similar question. So this is a randomized controlled trial, but then these group of authors, they took that idea and they did a systematic review and meta-analysis on that topic. So for you to apply this method of recent publications, all you have to do is stay tuned to what are the publications that are coming out in your area of interest. Let me show you more examples. Look at the publication here by Antonio. Look at his publication. He even included in his meta-analysis the paper by Monroe. Okay, so he had the idea from that paper, and then he published a meta-analysis on that topic, and he included the paper by Monroe. And I'm going to explain to you what a meta-analysis is and how you're able to do this in just a second. But I want to show you more examples on how you can do this. Look at what Dr. Hassi did. This is a publication in ophthalmology in a really great journal called Retina. It's on the use of this technique, photobiomodulation for macular degeneration. So this group of authors here looked at this publication and they said, there's controversy on this topic. They looked at a recent publication in their area of interest, which is ophthalmology, and they published a great paper on that topic. They published it in the International Journal of Retina. So this is a fantastic way, very reproducible. It works in every single area. Let me show you another example. Look at this publication here in the New England Journal of Medicine. I'm sure most of you guys know the New England Journal of Medicine is the highest ranking journal in the world. It's very prestigious. Thousands of people see their publications every week. This publication here in the New England Journal of Medicine was about surgical treatment for lung cancer. Surgical treatment for lung cancer. But what's super interesting is that it was seen by hundreds of people, thousands of people worldwide. But it was one of our students who had watched the publication roadmap just like you guys, who took this controversy, who took this idea, and he did a meta-analysis on the topic, sublobar resection versus lobectomy for early lung cancer. And look where he published, Surgical Oncology. This is one of the top world journals in the field of surgical oncology. But Patrick was not a surgeon. Patrick was not an oncologist. He was a third-year medical student. All he did was see the recent publication, notice that there was a controversy, that there was debate on this topic, and then he did a meta-analysis on this. And I'm going to teach you guys what is a meta-analysis and how you can do one yourself. Right now, we're focusing just on the ideas. What are we looking for to develop an idea? Controversy. We're looking for controversy. And you may say, Randerson, how is there still controversy? This came out in the New England Journal of Medicine. Shouldn't that have finished the entire controversy because it's such a strong paper? The answer is no. Very, very rarely does that ever happen. Remember, if something is being published in the New England Journal of Medicine, it's likely because it's a very controversial topic. It's because we don't have the answer to that. It's because there may be conflicting evidence in the past. It's because it's something that's not yet settled. And one paper in the New England Journal of Medicine or other journal will certainly help in that sense, but it may not be definitive and it may not bring us all the answers. So you can take that controversy and develop your own research ideas. That's exactly what Patrick and his group did here. Okay, so you may ask me, that's very nice. Okay, I got it. Recent publications. But how am I going to stay updated on the recent publications in my area of interest so that I can then develop my own research ideas? Well, you're going to use this amazing resource called the newsletter. You're going to register your email for free. You don't have to pay anything for this. You're going to register your email for free in the newsletters of different academic journals, okay? So you're going to pick the journals in your area of interest, and you're going to go ahead and register for free for their newsletter. Here's an example. Let's say that you're interested in pediatrics. You're going to first, you may know what are the highest ranking pediatric journals if you're a pediatrician, but if you're a medical student interested in pediatrics, you may not know this yet. So you're going to go to ChatGPT and you're going to tell ChatGPT, tell me the top 7 journal in pediatrics. And it doesn't matter to you which journal is number 1 or 2 or 3. That's irrelevant. What you're really looking for is for the best journals, like 5 of the first 10. Like that's the general idea, that you're looking for great journals in your field of interest. And then after you find out what their names are, what you're going to do is you're going to go to their website. Like let's go to JAMA Pediatrics website. And you're going to go there and you're going to sign up your email to get the latest. You're going to sign up for their newsletter. And then when you do that, you will get these updates about the research that is being published in JAMA Pediatrics. So if you do that, you now will have a weekly reminder of the research that they're publishing in your email inbox. So you're going to read the title and abstract of everything that you get. The title and abstract. You don't have to read the full paper yet. But if you read the title and abstract, you will find things that spark your interest. You will find suitable ideas for your research. Why? Because you're going to find controversy. So this is a great tool. You guys are going to actually apply this in your own area of interest when you do the exercise in the publication roadmap. Remember, listen to what I'm going to say. You have to do the exercise. You can't learn this by just watching the class passively. You have to do the exercise. Don't forget that, okay? You're going to apply this today when we finish the roadmap. You are going to do the exercise, okay? All right. So that's the method of recent publications. Let's summarize it real quickly. What are you going to do? You're going to pick 1 or 2 areas of interest. Let's say you like psychiatry and neurology, for example. So you're going to go to ChatGPT and you're going to say, what are the highest ranking journals in psychiatry? what are the highest ranking journals in neurology? And it's going to give you a list, 5, 7 papers. And then you're going to go to those journals and you're going to sign up for free for their newsletters and their website. Okay. Now, if you're a specialist already, if you're a resident in cardiology, you may know that the highest ranking journals in cardiology are Circulation, JACC, European Heart Journal, JAMA Cardiology. So you don't need to do the ChatGPT exercise, but it's an option for you if you're really not sure which journals are the best in your field. Okay, is everyone clear with this? All right, everyone clear with this? Yes? All set? All good? Can we keep going forward? Yes? Guys, there's a lot of questions about the Meta-Analysis Academy in the chat. Let's not focus on that right now. Let's focus on learning the publication roadmap, okay? All right, I know you guys are excited to join. There's tons of people who send us message that they want to join the next edition. There will be a special opportunity for you guys to join at the end, but we're not going to focus on that right now. I really need you guys to learn these methods to develop research ideas with autonomy, okay? Let's focus on this, all right? All right, just a second. Okay, let's talk about this other great method called hot topics. Okay, let's talk about hot topics. Hot topics, guys, is a great way for you to have research ideas because you can easily find controversies. What do I mean by that? Listen, you guys, I'm sure, are attentive to the news, whether it's in the US or your home country. You're always reading the news somehow, okay? It may be a website, it may be on TV, it may be on the radio, but you're always listening to the news. And as you guys know, whenever there's a major event, a really catastrophic or, really political breakthrough, something like that, whenever there's something that's really new, the news media will rush, they'll run to get that information to you first. Everyone is familiar with this, right? They'll say breaking news, they'll send you an email, they'll put it on the radio, they'll stop what they're doing to really tell you that there's breaking news. The same thing happens in medicine. The same thing happens in your field of interest, okay? So this is really critical that you guys understand how this works and use it in your favor. Whenever there's something new in oncology, for example, there will be multiple platforms fighting for your attention. They're super interested in bringing those news to you. They get media, they get advertisement, they get endorsement from institutions. It's the same thing. When you are interested in a specific field, there are multiple platforms that are interested in bringing the latest news in that specialty to you. They just want your attention, and you can use that in your favor. Okay, so there are multiple platforms that do this. Podcasts, for example, social media like X, formerly Twitter, Instagram, UpToDate, Medscape. These are just some examples. There are more. And if you give them attention, if you give them what they want from you, you may actually learn a lot of valuable information from these media sources. You may learn the areas of controversy because that's what they want to bring to you. They want to bring hot topics. They want to bring what's new. They want to bring what's controversial. They want to bring what people are talking about. And you can take advantage of this to develop research ideas. One example is Medscape. So Medscape has a webpage called News and Perspective. And this is the page for diabetes and endocrinology. So if you're interested in diabetes and endocrinology, this is a great place to look for controversial ideas in your area of interest. This is a great place to look for that, for new topics, for hot topics. And you can find some great research ideas in a page like this. Another great source of hot topics is UpToDate. UpToDate has a section called What's New. So they'll say what's new in oncology, what's new in hematology, what's new in neurology. So if you're interested in oncology, you have to look at this page, every 2 months or so So you can find out what are the new topics, the hot topics that people are debating in oncology. It's very, very useful and quick way of developing research ideas. Look, what's new in obstetrics and gynecology? All right, it's talking about bictegravir. I have no idea what that is, but for people interested in OBGYN, this is a great resource. You can look for new controversial topics right here, and you don't have to go and read all the literature on that. A panel in UpToDate already convened and brought you the most up-to-date information on that controversial topic. So you can easily find great research ideas here. This is what's new in oncology. Look at this beautiful example of this. You guys see this publication? This is a publication in oncology. It's about the use of trastuzumab in patients with HER2-positive breast cancer and brain metastasis. So it's a topic on oncology in women who have metastatic breast cancer. And it's a publication, look where it came out. It came out in the European Society of Medical Oncology. This is one of the top journals in the world in oncology. But the first author here, she's not an oncologist yet, Dr. Michelon. She was a medical student at the time. She had this idea from reading UpToDate. She was reading UpToDate. She just applied the same method that I just told you guys. Literally, she opened UpToDate, what's new in oncology. She's a medical student. She's very bright. She wants to do oncology. She read the page and she said, oh, there's a controversy on this topic right here. So she did a research. She did a meta-analysis on this topic. And the best part is she did this with autonomy. This was her idea. This was her project. This was her methods, her statistics. And she published this in a really great journal in oncology, European Society of Medical Oncology. And look how cool. This is such a beautiful story, guys. Look how cool. This is the other great society in oncology, the American Society of Clinical Oncology. And they have a book. They have a book teaching oncologists in the United States how to treat breast cancer, or excuse me, how to treat all cancers. They have an educational book on like different types of cancers. And in their chapter on treatment of breast cancer, they cited the work of Dr. Michelon. When she did this, she was a medical student. And her research is being used to train doctors in the United States on how to treat breast cancer. Because research, when you learn how to do it the way I teach you, by doing really strong meta-analysis, you publish in great journals and you get great citations, just like Dr. Michelon did. But let's remember where the idea came from. The idea came from hot topics in UpToDate. And this is something you can apply right away. You can apply today and find great ideas for you over there. Okay? One final example, shall we? Social media. Look, there are plenty of social media pages like on Twitter, on Instagram, or on YouTube that will educate you on your area of interest. So this is one of these pages. For example, it's called Neopapers. And this page educates folks on neonatology. And their platform directed towards doctors, medical students. So it's directed, their audience is people who are interested in the field of neonatology. So they cited a paper that had just come out on the use of caffeine therapy for apnea of prematurity. So they published this and they were really excited to share with their audience, with their followers, and they wanted people to engage on Twitter. You know, that's what they do. They're there to generate audience, viewership. That's what all these platforms do. It's like when a movie comes out and they want people to watch and see the movie. Same thing here. On social media, obviously, on podcasts, people are interested in the viewership. Over here, the same. One of these viewers was Vanessa. Vanessa was a recent graduate at the time. She just finished medical school. And she saw this and she's interested in pediatrics. And she's like, oh, there's a controversy here. There's a controversy on treatment of apnea of prematurity with caffeine. She saw it on Twitter. She saw it on X. And she published a paper on this topic. It was accepted in one of the highest ranking journals in pediatrics. It was accepted in a journal called Neonatology. And look how cool, guys. Vanessa at the time, she was super worried because she was going to apply for the match and she didn't have any research. And then she learned how to do this, the same thing that I'm teaching you guys. And she is now a resident in pediatrics in the United States at the University of Pittsburgh Medical Center, UPMC. So she's a first-year resident right now. This is Vanessa. She's a former student of the Publication Roadmap and the Meta-Analysis Academy. So again, you guys just have to follow what I'm explaining to you. This will open great opportunities for you in your career. Okay, in Vanessa, it was residency match in the United States. Let's wrap up the section on hot topics by talking about podcasts. Podcasts are really great ways for you to stay updated in your field of interest and find out the controversies. Like, I'm a cardiologist, as I told you, and one of the best, if not the best podcasts in cardiology is Cardio Nerds. Cardio Nerds is phenomenal. In fact, the fun story is that this podcast started like with my colleagues from fellowship at Johns Hopkins. Dan Anbinder, some of you guys know, was a cardiology fellow from my class at Johns Hopkins. He's a good friend. It's a phenomenal podcast. And if you listen to this, in fact, there's a couple of episodes with me back a few years ago. And if you listen to these episodes, you will listen to updates in cardiology, but you will also listen to uncertainties. You will listen to controversies. And you can find these podcasts in your area, like in surgery, in oncology, in pediatrics, and you can stay updated in your field, but you can also find hot topics, controversial topics. Okay? All good so far? Let me know in the chat, folks. All good? Can we keep going? Yes? Guys, there's a lot of questions here about the Meta-Analysis Academy, okay? I want you guys to stay tuned to the publication roadmap, okay? The publication roadmap is this 2-day webinar that we're doing today and tomorrow. That's where you are right now. You are in the publication roadmap. Let's focus our attention entirely on this. You're learning how to develop research ideas. Tomorrow, you will learn how to break barriers for publication. So this is really, really helpful to you to kick off your research career. The Meta-Analysis Academy is a 3-month training program that teaches you guys how to do meta-analysis at the highest level. Those are 2 different things, and I'm going to explain the Meta-Analysis Academy at a later time. I don't want to focus on that right now because there's a lot to share with you guys. I realize there's a lot of anxiety in the chat about the Meta-Analysis Academy, but let's focus on the roadmap for now. Okay? All good so far? Everyone okay with hot topics? Yes? Okay, so Cassie asked, what are there podcasts that you would recommend? So yeah, absolutely. You can easily find out the podcasts that are the better ones in your field of interest. Okay? So in fact, you can do this today. After you leave here, I think the exercise goes over this too. So make sure you guys follow the exercise. You can easily find out what are the podcasts in surgery, for example, or in neurosurgery. Okay, so this is a really, really helpful tool. Okay, so this is a common question too. Someone said, how do I find hot topics method if I don't have a specific field of interest? Well, guys, you can't do research without having a field of interest. You can't do research without having a topic, right? That's what we're doing here. We're picking research ideas. So I would say for people that don't know exactly what field they're going to go into, like let's say you're a 3rd-year medical student and you're not sure yet, okay, you have to pick something to start. Now, if you do research now in cardiology and then you realize that you want to do gastroenterology, I'm not sure why you would want to do that. It makes no sense to me that you would switch cardiology for gastroenterology, okay? That you would change cardiology for poop. I'm just joking with my gastroenterology friends. But if you do that, Oh, as a medical student, you did research in cardiology. Now you want to apply for gastroenterology. That's totally fine. People will still see that you have a robust CV, you have tons of publications, but you have to pick something to start. You can't say, I'm just going to do research, but I have no interest. You can't do that. You have to pick some interest and you have to start there. And those interests may evolve over time. Okay? All good? Everyone clear on that? Okay. So Ankita asked about conferences here. Okay, we're going to talk about that right now. Okay, so that's the next step. Let's go over and talk about conferences. That's step number 4, folks. Step number 4 is conferences. Okay, so how does this work? Take a look at this conference here. This is the largest world conference in interventional cardiology. Any future interventional cardiologists in the crowd here? All right. Any future cardiologists in the crowd? All right. So, okay. So in this conference, it's called TCT, Transcatheter Therapeutics. This is one of the largest conferences in the world in interventional cardiology, probably the largest. In this conference, they share new research. They talk about a lot of controversial topics in the field. I want to go over this topic of controversy again because I want to make sure everyone understands this. Controversy means that there's uncertainty around a specific field. For example, if someone has a heart attack, I'm going to give them aspirin. There's no controversy on that. There's no controversy at all. We've known for decades that we have to give aspirin for patients who are having a heart attack. There's no controversy there. Okay. Now, if we're interested in learning whether the use of PCSK9 inhibitors, that's a specific medication in cardiology, should be given for patients with a heart attack in acute coronary syndrome right away. So this was uncertain. There was controversy on this topic. So controversy means areas where we're uncertain of how we should diagnose, treat, manage a patient. Okay, that's what controversy means. And we can only do research in the topics that are controversial. That's why the step-by-step process involves finding topics that are controversial, because I can't do research on whether I should give aspirin for a heart attack. That would be like doing research on whether people who jump out of airplanes should use a parachute. There's no controversy on that topic. Absolutely. If you're jumping out of a plane, you should absolutely use a parachute. So if there's no controversy, there's no point in doing research on that topic. And when we look for ideas for research, we're looking for controversial topics. One of the ways you can find those controversial topics is with conferences. And I'm going to explain that to you right now. Every major conference in cardiology, in surgery, in pediatrics, every major conference has new research coming out in that area. Sometimes that research is in the form of just lectures. Sometimes they'll call it late-breaking clinical trials. But there's always research coming out. And those research, of course, will be on topics that are controversial. This is an example. Back in 2022, at TCT, Transcatheter Therapeutics, they presented a trial called the EPIC-STEMI trial. This was a trial that was evaluating whether this class of medications called PCSK9 inhibitors should be given for patients who have an acute heart attack. They have a heart attack and they get the medication. So this is a trial that was presented at TCT, at the conference, okay? Now, if you're a medical student that's interested in cardiology, you could see that research being presented at the conference and say, well, they've just presented this at TCT. There's controversy on this topic. Maybe I'll do a research on that. This is one of the ways you can do research. And Gustavo published on this very topic. Gustavo did a meta-analysis on the use of PCSK9 inhibitor therapy for patients who have acute coronary syndrome. Now, look at this meta-analysis. They included the data from EPIC-STEMI, which had come out at TCT. And the most striking thing here is that this research was seen by thousands of people in the audience, people who read about it online. But it was really Gustavo who took this controversy and turned it into a publication in the American Journal of Cardiology. This is a really strong journal in cardiology. He also presented it in the Netherlands, in Amsterdam, at the European Society of Cardiology a couple of years ago. So again, the way you're going to use this conference tool is you go to the conference and you say, oh, what's new here? What's being presented here? What's the new research coming out? What are the controversies that are being debated here? When you look for those controversies, you can find great ideas for doing research. Okay, here's an example. You may say, oh, Anderson, I can't go on these international conferences. I can't go to San Francisco for the interventional cardiology conference. I'm a medical student in Mumbai. I'm a medical student in, Lahore or wherever you are in the world. That's okay. You don't have to go to these conferences. The conferences actually post their research online on their website. So like this is a summary of the American Heart Association. And you can see all the exciting new research that they published there. This is from the American Society of Clinical Oncology. You can see all the research that they presented over there as well. So this is the way you're going to use this tool. Whether you go to the conference or not, you're going to be on the lookout for controversial, for new topics being shown, being debated in that conference, okay? So again, if you can't afford to go to the international conferences, that's okay. But let's say you like oncology and we're going to have the American Society of Clinical Oncology. As soon as the conference happens, you go to their website and you find out what they presented, what was the research, what was the controversies, and you can use that to develop research ideas, just like in the example that I showed you. Came out in TCT, and then Gustavo did a meta-analysis on that topic, okay? We're going to finish up the 5 methods to have research ideas with autonomy by talking about guidelines. So you guys may not know this yet if you're very junior in training, but worldwide societies, they have guidelines on how patients should be managed. So I showed you earlier the guideline from the American Society of Clinical Oncology on how to treat breast cancer. And cardiology has guidelines on how to treat high cholesterol, how to treat blood pressure, how to treat atrial fibrillation. These guidelines are a great source of information, but they're also a great source of controversy. And where there's controversy, there may be an idea there waiting for you. So again, that's what our ingredient is. That's what we're looking for when we're looking for research ideas. We're looking for controversies in our areas of interest. So let's take a look at this guideline. This is the 2022 European Society of Cardiology guidelines, okay, on cardio-oncology, okay? Look at this recommendation, guys. Let's read this together. Low doses of apixaban or rivaroxaban may be considered as an alternative to heparin or aspirin in patients with multiple myeloma. Guys, if the guidelines said that this may be considered, tell me, is that something that's definitive or is that controversial? If they said it may be considered, okay? They're not sure, right? There's debate, correct? It's controversial because if it was definitive, what would they say? If it was definitive, what would they write, guys? If it was definitive, they wouldn't say it's controversial, it's maybe. They would say you have to do it. If they knew that apixaban or rivaroxaban was better, they would say that it should be done. Low doses of apixaban or rivaroxaban must be done instead of heparin or aspirin. When they write may be considered, it's because it's called a weak or maybe a moderate, depending on the level of recommendation, moderate or weak recommendation. In this case, it's a weak recommendation. And the reason why it's a weak recommendation is because there's controversy. The controversy is really key for you to develop great ideas. And that's what Dr. Costa did. Tomás wanted to do residency in the United States. He didn't have a lot of publications. He learned the roadmap just like you guys are doing. He also joined the Meta-Analysis Academy, and he had this idea. He wanted to test DOACs, direct oral anticoagulants, that's apixaban or rivaroxaban, versus aspirin for prevention of clots in patients with multiple myeloma. Now, this is an idea that he had from the guideline. He read the guideline and he said, oh, wow, there's controversy on this topic. They're unsure on how this should be treated or prevented. So then he and his team wrote a paper, a publication on this topic. And they published it in the British Journal of Hematology. British Journal of Hematology, one of the highest ranking journals in the world of hematology. And you know what's the coolest thing? That he published several papers and he matched. He matched at the University of Colorado for internal medicine. He's now a second-year resident there. Okay, so building these publications from ideas that you can have from guidelines will be super helpful for you in you growing, developing your career further. And look how interesting. This is another guideline, this one from the European Myeloma Network, and now they cite his work, his publication, as a source of information on that topic. So he did the full cycle. He saw the guideline, there was controversy, he had the idea, he published a paper, and then he was cited on the guideline as a reference, as a standard for other people to do impactful for other people to manage myeloma as well. Okay, so this is how you're going to use guidelines. And you may say, but Randerson, I don't know which are the great guidelines in my area. That's what I'm about to teach you. So let's say you're interested in vascular surgery, okay? So listen up. You go to ChatGPT and you say, what are the largest global societies in vascular surgery? And it's going to give you a list. It's going to say, well, Society for Vascular Surgery, European Society for Vascular Surgery. It's going to give you a list. And then you go to Google and you put down the name of that society, SVS, and you write the word guidelines. And then you're going to find the guidelines from your society. So again, ask ChatGPT, what are the societies in your area of interest? It'll then list you those societies, and you go to Google and you find the website for your society guidelines. And then you will open that page and you will see that there's guidelines in varicose veins, there's guidelines in chronic mesenteric ischemia, and you can look at those guidelines to look for controversies. Let me make sure that you guys got this, okay? All right, look. This is a strong recommendation. This is not going to be a good idea for research because there's no controversy there. Okay, but look at this recommendation here. You guys may not be able to see it, but it says consider bypass in preference to endovascular therapy. Guys, if it says consider, is that a strong recommendation or is that a controversial recommendation? Consider bypass in preference to endovascular therapy. So that's not a strong recommendation, okay? That's controversial. What are we looking for when we're building research ideas? We're looking for uncertainty. We're looking for controversial topics, okay? All right? Sounds good? So these methods, they work regardless of prior research experience, okay? All these examples that I showed you guys here, you guys don't need prior research experience to apply them. All right, you just need to follow this step by step. In fact, you will do that today in the exercise that we'll build for you. All right? Okay, so to wrap up these 5 methods, I'm going to ask you guys which one was your favorite, and I'll share you mine. Tell me in the chat here, which one out of these 5 that I showed you was your favorite? Was it the bedside? Was it guidelines? Was it hot topics? Was it conferences or recent publications? Which one was your favorite, guys? Well, there's a lot of there's mixed answers here. Okay. All right, people have a lot of different opinions here. Let me tell you that my favorite is recent publications. Recent publications is the fastest, most straightforward way of having great research ideas. Look at this publication here. This came out in one of the highest ranking journals in radiology. It's called American Journal of Röntgenology. It's one of the best journals in the world in radiology, okay? And in this publication here, they talked about ultrasound-derived fat fraction for hepatic steatosis. I'm not a radiologist, so I don't know what that means. But Sarah, who is a resident in radiology, no prior research experience, Sarah got this idea and published a meta-analysis on this topic. She published it in European Radiology, top world journal in radiology. Pretty amazing. And she did this by seeing this publication, noticing a recent publication in that area, and she published it as first author in a great journal, European Radiology. This is her presenting this in, I think, in Austria, in Vienna, for the European Society of Radiology, for the European Radiology Conference. Okay, so Sarah is a resident in radiology when she published this. Okay, here's another example. Beatriz is a medical student. She's not a critical care doctor, but she published in one of the highest ranking journals in the world in critical care. She published in this fantastic journal. And how did she get this idea? She's not a doctor yet. She's a medical student, okay? She published it in critical care, but she got this idea from a recent publication that had come out in the New England Journal of Medicine. So this is a randomized control trial on video versus direct laryngoscopy. And then Beatriz, who's a medical student, published on video versus direct laryngoscopy, but she did a meta-analysis. So this is really important. You guys can do fantastic research, fantastic ideas with autonomy. You could be a first-year medical student, a fourth-year medical student. You could be a resident like Sarah. You don't need prior research experience, and it doesn't matter where you are in the world, okay? Okay, so now I have about 20 more minutes of didactics to share with you. Very important, what I'm about to teach you as well, in addition to research ideas. But I want to highlight the importance for you doing the exercise. I'm going to ask my team to put in the chat, and it's also going to be in the description of the video and in the community, in the WhatsApp community, the link to the web page where you will download the exercise and where you would submit the exercise. You have to do this before we start day 2 tomorrow. So you will have 24 hours. You will have until midday London time tomorrow to do this exercise. Okay? Super important. Okay? Make sure you guys do the exercise by the beginning of day 2. Okay? And you may be wondering, Randerson, okay, very interesting. I love how you taught me how to develop these research ideas, but I'm still clueless on how I'm actually going to transform these ideas into research. It's impossible for me. Well, it may be impossible right now, but you're being too premature. You have to go through the next steps. The first step is to develop research ideas. Then you will learn tomorrow the step-by-steps on how you can overcome all of these barriers. So tomorrow, in day 2 of the publication roadmap, we will go to the next steps. Step number 1 is to have research ideas. All right, once you have these research ideas, you can work on your projects, and I'll show you how you can do that. Okay? Now, one critical component of what we teach here is systematic review and meta-analysis. All right, all of the publications that I showed you that apply these methods use systematic review and meta-analysis. So I'm going to explain to you what this is. You may know this already, but again, it's very important that you understand this. Stay with me because this is a critical component of how you're going to do research with autonomy. Listen up. Remember the example that I showed you about pregnant women who delivered their baby and now they don't want to have a baby, they want to have contraception, and then they decide to have long-term contraception implanted right away, right after birth. Okay? That topic has likely been studied by multiple people. Like someone in the world, let's say in New York, someone did a clinical trial where they got women who delivered and they didn't want to have more babies. And they said, let's do a study where we do contraception right away or we wait a few weeks. When they did that in New York, they got a sample from their hospital, from their institution, from their university. They got a sample of women who were postpartum and didn't want to have more babies for a long time. So then they did a clinical trial. But it's not just researchers in New York who had this idea. Someone in Boston may have had this idea, and someone in Bogota, Colombia, and someone in Sao Paulo, Brazil, and someone in Berlin, Germany. So there's all these folks from all over the world doing similar studies. Each one is getting a small sample from their hospital. Each one is getting a group of women who just had birth and don't want to have more babies. Okay, that's how people do individual studies. But what a meta-analysis does is it puts together the data from those multiple studies from New York, from Boston, from Germany, from Brazil, from Colombia, from all over the world. A meta-analysis does a pooled statistical analysis of all those studies. So that's what Enrique did in that paper that I showed you. Remember? Look at this. They included 24 trials. 24 trials. So these were not done in Enrique's institution. These were done all over the world. He got the data from multiple studies, in this case, 24 studies, and he put together 2,500 patients and published in the American Journal of Obstetrics and Gynecology. So meta-analysis, guys, it's the quantitative synthesis, it's the math, it's the statistics, putting together studies that are similar to each other. These studies are done all over the world, in Europe, in the US, in Canada, in Asia, in South America, in Africa. They're done all over the world. And then you, as the author of the meta-analysis, you put that data together to generate a new result, okay? That's what a meta-analysis is. Let's look at this example from Natalia. Natalia published this paper comparing apixaban, rivaroxaban, these anticoagulants, to aspirin for embolic stroke. Well, Natalia is from Colombia, Medellin, Colombia. But she really wanted to do research to come to the United States for residency. And she did. She published this paper in the Journal of Stroke and Cerebrovascular Disorders. And she matched in neurology at the University of Miami. She is now a first-year resident. You guys heard her story. We did a live stream with her. But how did she do this? Well, she didn't get patients from Medellin, Colombia. She got patients from all over the world. There are 3,000 patients in the study, and these patients are from all over the world. They're not from her institution. That's why meta-analysis is so powerful. And you may ask me, Randerson, and what's the difference between a meta-analysis and a systematic review? Well, a meta-analysis is the math. It's putting the studies together, adding them up, doing aggregate analysis. A systematic review, on the other hand, is the step-by-step process that we use to identify, select, analyze, and report the studies. So a systematic review is the step-by-step process to find those studies, select those studies, and report the outcomes of those studies. A meta-analysis is the math. So this is a systematic review and a meta-analysis. A systematic review is the process to identify those 24 studies and separate them from the studies that we don't want. A meta-analysis is when we put them together. A meta-analysis is when we get the 24 studies, and we add their data together. And then we're going to create this, which is a forest plot. A forest plot is the mathematical synthesis of those studies. So that's what a meta-analysis is. A systematic review is the process to find those studies and analyze them. And a meta-analysis is the math. Meta-analysis is the quantitative synthesis of those studies. How does this step-by-step work? How am I going to do a systematic review and a meta-analysis after I have my idea for one? Well, that's what you're going to learn tomorrow in day 2 of the publication roadmap, okay? So today we learned how to develop research ideas. Tomorrow, here is our schedule. Tomorrow, we're going to discuss the exercise. I will read over some of the answers that you guys submit. That's why I won't identify you. I won't say, oh, it's Jonathan who did this. No, but I will show you some examples of things that people did right, things that people did wrong. I'll mostly focus on right examples. So we're going to discuss the exercise. Then you guys are going to learn the 10 steps of doing systematic reviews and meta-analysis to publish with autonomy. And we're also going to talk about how to advance your medical career, how to get into that residency, that fellowship, that master's degree, how to really boost your career with these publications. So that's the plan for tomorrow. Now, what you have to do is do the exercise. And I'm going to give you 7 great reasons to do the exercise. You guys ready? This is the final thing that we're going to talk about today. The final thing. I just need one home stretch from you guys. This is the home stretch. I just need an extra effort. Let me know in the chat if you guys are pumped for this, if you're excited, because I'm going to finish off today with 7 strong reasons for you guys to do the exercise, okay? These are 7 reasons that you guys must finish the session, take a break. Maybe you want to go to the gym. Maybe you want to, depends on what time it is in the world for you. Maybe you want to go to the gym. Maybe you want to get some lunch. Maybe you want to go out with a friend, watch a movie. But as soon as you're done, you're going to go and you're going to do the exercise. It's going to be available in the transmission page for you guys, okay? Quick exercise in the chat. Who is further west in the world? Like California, Hawaii, anyone? What time is it for you guys who are further west? And also, who is further east? Japan, New Zealand, Australia, all right? Further west, further east. Let me know. I always like to do that exercise. And I want to know what time it is for you. 5 a.m. and then tell me the city, okay? 5 a.m. in the city. All right. So as you guys put that in the chat, let's go over these 5 reasons. Hawaii, there we go. Ankita, Hawaii. No, it was someone else. I missed. There's too many answers in the chat. I can't keep up. I'm sorry. So 2 in the morning for a friend in Hawaii. Very good. All right. So let's go over these 7 reasons, folks. Let's go over the 7 reasons. Reason number 1. Guys, really fast, okay? This is going to be fast. I know it's been a long morning for you guys. It's been fun, but let's go over these reasons. First, meta-analysis. I taught you today how to develop ideas for meta-analysis. You guys saw all of those publications were meta-analysis. So the 7 reasons are the following. First, meta-analysis are at the top of the pyramid of evidence. You guys seen this meta-analysis. A lot of you guys have wasted a ton of time in your career, precious time that doesn't come back, doing useless case reports. Now, when I say useless, obviously it's an exaggeration, but it's almost close to useless. It's very close to useless. There's very little value to the literature and to your own CV to do case reports. Okay, there's some value, but it's very, very tiny. Systematic reviews and meta-analysis, on the other hand, they're very, very powerful. And if you do the exercise and learn how to actually develop ideas for meta-analysis, that's the first step for you to do one. We're going to learn the other steps tomorrow. Okay? Very good. I think we can focus here now, guys. Okay, number 2, meta-analysis are highly cited in the literature. Because they're so strong, they carry a lot of weight in the literature. So remember the paper I showed you from Beatrice? She's a medical student. Within 1 year, that paper had almost 30 citations. Almost 30 citations in a year. That's pretty good. And it was published in a great journal too. Number 3, meta-analysis are accepted in great journals Look at these publications from our students, guys. These are not low value publications. These are great journals worldwide. Any anesthesiologists here in the chat or future anesthesiologists? Where is Team Anesthesia? Team Anesthesia in the chat? Lucas, guys, is a 4th-year medical student interested in anesthesiology. He published in one of the top journals in the world in anesthesia called Anesthesia and Analgesia. So this is one of the top journals in the world in anesthesiology, and a 4th-year medical student published his first author there. Mateus is a resident in ophthalmology. He published in the highest ranking journal in the world in ophthalmology. It's just unbelievable. The level of the publications that you guys do when you learn how to do meta-analysis. Helen is a 3rd-year medical student, was at the time of this publication a 3rd-year medical student. Guys, she published in neurosurgery. This is one of the best journals in the world in neurosurgery. It's extraordinary, the level of these publications, just out of this world, okay? Pedro published in JAMA Cardiology. JAMA Cardiology, that's one of the highest ranking journals in the world in cardiology. Okay, so great journals. These are not weak, low-value publications. Here's a great example from Fatime. You guys saw the live stream that I did with Fatime a couple of days ago. Fatime published in the Journal of Pediatric Surgery, one of the top journals in the world in pediatric surgery. She's from Dubai, from MBRU. Published as first author in the Journal of Pediatric Surgery. It's truly outstanding. This just came out from one of our students. Actually, pretty much everyone here, almost all the authors are from our training program. They published in the Lancet Global Health. Nearly all of these authors are from our program. Isabelle is from Argentina. Sarah is Portuguese. She's now in the United States. You know, these are students from all over the world who published in this strong journal. Number 4, meta-analysis win research awards. Okay, this is from Steban. Steban is from Paraguay. He won an award last year at the American Heart Association Scientific Sessions for his research. He's from Paraguay, and he matched into internal medicine. I forget the program right now. This is Maria Antonia and Luisa. They won an award at the Endocrine Society. They're both medical students, I think 3rd or 4th-year medical students. They won an award at the Endocrine Society, largest global conference in endocrinology, okay? Louise won an award at the American Society of Clinical Oncology. He won $1,000. This is Bezalel. Bezalel is from southern part of India. I forget the name of the city right now. Bezalel is from India. He came to the United States a couple of months ago because he won a $2,000. I'm actually even going to remove myself from the screen and just show this to you guys. $2,000 research award from the International Society of Thrombosis and Hemostasis. Why? Because it did a meta-analysis. Look at the name of the meta-analysis, the research. Efficacy of concizumab in patients with hemophilia, a systematic review and meta-analysis. Guys, so meta-analysis win you research awards. He won $2,000 to come to the United States from India and present his research. Okay? Multiple other examples. I'll move on in the interest of time. This is the European Conference in Orthopedics in Germany. A medical student, Igor, won that award. This is European Society of Medical Oncology in Madrid, Spain. One of our students won Best Poster Award. Reason number 5, meta-analysis informed clinical practice. This is up to date, section on C19, okay? Section from up to date. They cited the work of one of our students, Cynthia, who was a 4th-year medical student at the time. So this is an up-to-date, it's a meta-analysis on statin use for patients hospitalized with COVID. It was cited by up-to-date. Can you believe it? Like, you do a meta-analysis as a 4th-year medical student and it gets cited by up-to-date or by guidelines. Amanda is from the UK. She was a medical student at the time. Her research was cited by the American Diabetes Association, by their guidelines. It's incredible. A medical student. She had the idea. She did the project. So this idea that you guys will develop, it's really powerful, okay? So that you can actually get citations in the literature. This is the top world document in diabetes management. This is the ultimate reference on how to manage diabetes. It's the American Diabetes Association guidelines. And this was published, this paper that was cited is by a medical student from the UK, a medical student from Spain at the time. So that's the power of meta-analysis. Here's another example of guideline citation by the World Endoscopy Association. Otavio is a fourth-year medical student as well. Number 6, meta-analysis increased statistical power. Look at this. Each study individually has 200 patients, 100, 300, 400, but collectively, this has 7,000 patients, almost 7,000, 6,500 patients. So when you do that, when you increase the sample size, I think it's clear to everyone how it increases the sample size, right? You get study from Germany, from the United States, from Canada, from Brazil, from Colombia. You get those studies and you put it together, so you increase the sample size. So meta-analysis are really, really powerful. And it all starts with the research idea. You guys are going to do the exercise today. And finally, meta-analysis greatly advanced your career, okay? We're going to talk about that tomorrow, but look how cool. Enrique and Yasmin published that paper that I showed you a few times. Well, Yasmin matched at gynecology and obstetrics. She matched in a surgical specialty. It's super tough to match in a surgical specialty like OBGYN. Well, Yasmin made it, and she had several publications like this one, impactful publications of meta-analysis. So it really transforms your career. Gabriella matched into general surgery in Harvard. Can you believe it? General surgery at Harvard Medical School. She had 22 publications at the time of her application. Denilsa is the first person ever from the country of Mozambique in Africa to match into residency in the United States. She published a few good papers of meta-analysis. Luca won a scholarship at Johns Hopkins, a scholarship, guys, all right, publishing meta-analysis. Carlos got a research fellowship. Carol got an observership at Harvard. This is one of our students who had a green card approved. You know, why? Publications help you build a strong case for your green card application too. Okay, so listen, you may think that this is impossible, that this is not within your reach, but that's what we're going to discuss tomorrow. Okay, so now tomorrow you're going to learn how to break these barriers for publication. Okay, tomorrow I'm going to go over step by step on how you can overcome all these barriers. Guys, final advice for you guys here, okay? Final advice. Make sure to show up in class 2 tomorrow, okay? And then for all the people who've been asking about the Meta-Analysis Academy, everyone who's interested in joining, everyone who wants to follow in these footsteps, I want you guys to access this QR code and join our early bird registration group, okay? So this early bird registration group will give you access to the best offer for the Meta-Analysis Academy. Our team is going to put the link in the chat. I didn't want to focus on the Meta-Analysis Academy today because I wanted to show you guys the publication roadmap, how to develop ideas, okay? But if anyone is interested in joining and learning more and figuring out how it works, I didn't want to take time of our precious time in learning here today how to develop ideas. So you're going to join the early bird registration group. I'm going to ask the team to put the link in the chat. They just did, okay? This is the message from our team. This is for you to join the early bird registration group. Remember, when you join the group, if someone sends you a private text saying, hey, I'm from Dr. Cardozo's team, make sure you verify that they indeed are. Don't fall victims to any scams or anything like that. Make sure that you verify. I showed you how in the beginning of the class. In our transmission page, you can verify the numbers. But we're going to explain in that early bird registration group how the Meta-Analysis Academy works. And then on Monday morning in the US, Monday midday at London time, we're going to open registration initially just for the early bird registration group. So first, only the early bird registration group gets a chance to register for the best offer. And we're going to explain all of this in that community, in that WhatsApp community. So all you have to do right now is join that group. We're going to record attendance today, and we're actually going, this is important. We're going to do a special offer, as I told you. It's going to be, we're going to do a draw for people who register attendance today and tomorrow, people who watch it live. We're going to do a draw for you guys to win a scholarship to the Meta-Analysis Academy. Okay, so if you register attendance today and you register attendance tomorrow, we're going to do a draw, a random draw, and we're going to pick one person who registers attendance in both days to win a scholarship for the Meta-Analysis Academy. Okay, the way you're going to register attendance is quite simple. You're going to post a story on Instagram. So Anna from our team did this as an example. So you can post a story that you're watching the publication roadmap, and then you're going to tag at metaanalysis.academy. That's our Instagram page, okay? You're going to tag us on the story, and then you're going to send the word. This is very important. We can only account for your attendance if you guys send, guys, can you remove the message? Okay. You have, it didn't show up here on the page, but you guys have to send the word controversy, okay? You have to send, after you tag us, you have to write in the DM, in the direct message, you have to write the word controversy. Make sure to do that to register attendance, and then you have to let that story run for 24 hours, okay? You can't delete the story. If you do that and you register attendance today and tomorrow, we will do a draw for a scholarship in the Meta-Analysis Academy, okay? And then the exercise, right? You guys also have to do the exercise. So you have to write the word controversy in the direct message. If you don't, we can't count your attendance, okay? Now you guys have to do that exercise. You have to do the exercise, and we'll also draw a scholarship for the Meta-Analysis Academy for those who do the exercise before the beginning of day 2. So if you do the exercise and if you register attendance, you will be eligible for potentially one of these 2 scholarships in the Meta-Analysis Academy. Okay? All right? So that's the plan for today, folks. The plan for today is for you to join the group, the early bird registration group, if you're interested. Join the community. Our team will explain all the details, and make sure you do that exercise. Everyone is familiar with where to do the exercise. Is that correct? Guys, you can't write controversy here in the chat. You have to write it on Instagram for us to count your attendance, okay? You have to share the story, tag us on Instagram, and write in our direct message controversy, not here, okay? Not here in the chat on YouTube, okay? All right, so everyone is familiar with where to find the exercise, correct? Yes, you can access the exercise. The exercise will be in the transmission webpage. We're going to put that up for you guys as well, okay? The transmission webpage is the one that I showed earlier. I will show it again here for you guys. Just give me 1 second, and then we'll be done with for today. Okay, so I want you guys to be aware of this, that this is our transmission webpage. I'm going to share it with you guys. Just give me 1 second. So this is where you can find the exercise right here. Okay, this is our transmission webpage. Okay, all right. Please go ahead and join the transmission webpage so you can access the exercise right here. All right, so guys, that's it. It's been fun being with you here today. The transmission webpage will have all of this. It'll have the recording of the class. It will have how you can download the statistics ebook. And remember, this is where you verify that anyone talking to you privately is from our team. Okay, I'm going to ask the team here to play the video at the end of some of our students, and then it will be done for today. All right. Thank you very much, guys. It's been great to be with you guys. I look forward to seeing you guys tomorrow for day 2 of our program. Take care. Bye-bye.
As a 50-year medical student, you don't feel that very important to the medical field. I just came back from Atlanta, where I presented in the ACC 24, my abstract as a first author. When I received the email, I was very surprised. I didn't even realize it was possible. I learned how to do meta-analysis with the Meta-Analysis Academy. All the classes and all the support that the course gives to you was essential to my learning of the study design, the meta-analysis, to give me independence in producing scientific content.
I'm Cynthia. I just matched in internal medicine in a program in Colorado. My application is not considered strong. I didn't have a visa. I had a fail in the step 2 CS. I was considered an old graduate because I graduated in 2017. I had applied last year and I had only 2 interviews. And this year with the publications, I got 8 interviews and the match came. So I have 7 meta-analysis published and 12 abstracts, or even more because at some point you just stop counting. I got these publications in 1.5 years, but definitely didn't have research experience before. Meta-analysis community is one of the best things you can get from the meta-analysis course. I not only got the publications, but the networking allowed me to get also rotations in the US with attendings there in academic institutions. Because of that rotations, I got some letters of recommendation from the clinical rotations. Also, my main meta-analysis, the senior author wrote me a letter of recommendation. So those letters, I'm sure that were much more strong than I had previously from like paid observerships and private practices. It really helped me to build up.
I've published 10 papers and had over 20 abstracts accepted at international conferences. Recently, I got an invite to do an observership in Beth Fisher Deaconess Medical Center at Harvard Medical School with Dr. Andre Davila, who is chief of electrophysiology in that institution. I connected with Andre Davila after I finished one of my meta-analysis and decided to invite him by email to collaborate on this project. I'm not an electrophysiologist, but this was one of my ideas. I developed it through one of the Meta-Analysis Academy methods.
I'm Rafael Lombardi. I did the first class of the Intensiva de Metas, and I can tell I'm assistant professor at the University of Nebraska Medical Center, anesthesiology, and I had amazing results with Dr. Anderson Cardoso course. He really taught everything you ever need to know about systematic reviews and meta-analysis. My experience on research before doing this course was minimal. I had 2 small experimental papers published during med school that was no better than anything you might ever imagine, so I surely can tell my experience with the research was 0. And after doing this course, in 18 months upon my enrollment in the course, I was able to have 3 papers accepted for publications in major journals of anesthesiology, and I really lost track of how many presentations in national meetings. I had 3 papers presented in American Academy of Medicine meeting, 5 presentations for ESRA meeting, some presentations accepted for ward meeting of regional anesthesia. I really don't remember how many, but it was 3 or 4. And I had some more presentations accepted for ASA meeting of this year, 3 or 4, don't remember how many. I really lost track of how many papers accepted for presentations in national meetings. So the course is amazing. Runners is going to teach you everything you ever need to know about systematic reviews and meta-analysis. It's going to improve your CV. It's going to make your CV way better. And if you intend to apply for residence over in America, definitely this is going to boost your curriculum a lot. And maybe you'll be able to have a view like the one I'm having today.
Before the academy, I had never even thought that it would be a possibility for me as a medical student to go to a conference of that magnitude, let alone present an abstract at it. So it was amazing. I felt amazing. It was very exciting. And I met other people from the academy there. I watched their presentations. They watched mine. And Dr. Randerson was there and he watched my presentation. And to me, his best quality is this one. He is available. He is such an available teacher. And he makes things so much easier because of that. And he's such a humble person. And he is all that, guys. He is all that. And if you have the chance of joining the team, do it, because it is a life-changing experience when you see that some things that you had never dreamed that would happen start happening.